Every mystery leaves behind clues, if you know where to look. This is where our investigation begins. We don't begin with conclusions. We begin with evidence. Case File 001, the Naglok mystery.
Imagine discovering 5 ancient books, written centuries apart by different traditions, yet all quietly assuming the same mysterious civilization already existed. Here's the first anomaly. None of these traditions pause to explain who the Nagas are. They simply assume their audience already knows. Those same names keep returning. Vasuki, Takshaka, Shesha, Bhogavati. Different authors, different centuries. One remarkably consistent memory. Then the second anomaly appears. The Nagas aren't introduced as beasts. They're remembered as rulers, nobles, families, and guardians of entire realms. That's unusual language. Civilizations have capitals, dynasties, alliances, pilgrimage sites. Why would ancient texts describe serpent beings with political vocabulary? The pattern refuses to stay local. Across Bharat, separated by mountains, rivers, and centuries, memories of the Nagas continue to surface. Archaeology has never uncovered Bhogavati, but it has uncovered something equally fascinating. Over 2,000 years of continuous serpent worship. 3 religions, 3 different philosophies. Yet each preserves serpent guardians with wisdom, power, and sacred responsibility. That consistency is difficult to ignore. Ancient artists made another surprising choice. They rarely carved the Nagas as ordinary snakes. They gave them unmistakably human presence. Modern scholars disagree about what the Nagas represent. Divine beings, ancient clans, nature cults, sacred symbols. The evidence refuses a simple answer, but every clue, every text, every tradition slowly pulls the investigation toward one forgotten place whose name refuses to disappear. Bhogavati, not described as a prison or a place of punishment, but as a magnificent city. And that's where this mystery becomes truly extraordinary. The Mahabharata introduces a place called Bhogavati, not as rumor, not as legend, but as a location its audience was already expected to recognize. Most civilizations imagine the underworld as darkness, but Bhogavati is remembered as radiant, prosperous, and astonishingly beautiful. That's our next anomaly. One passage compares Bhogavati with Amaravati, the capital of Indra. Why compare an underground realm with the home of the gods instead of hell? Bhogavati wasn't remembered as an empty cave. It had a ruler, Vasuki. A king implies administration, order, and a society, not chaos. The mystery deepens because Bhogavati appears again in other traditions. Different texts preserve the same city, but describe it from different perspectives. Some passages place Bhogavati along the shadowed southern path. Others describe extraordinary splendor. Contradiction isn't weakness, it's another clue. Even ancient sources disagree. Is Nagaloka another name for Patala, one region within it, or something entirely different? The texts never fully agree. The Bhagavata describes lower worlds unlike modern imagination, no burning punishment, but dazzling cities lit by jewels instead of sunlight. Across traditions, jewels appear repeatedly. They aren't decoration alone. They become the very source of light beneath the earth. Here's what responsible investigation demands. Archaeology has never discovered Bhogavati. That absence is as important as every text that remembers it. Today, 4 explanations remain. A hidden realm, sacred cosmology, symbolic geography, or a memory transformed across centuries. None answers every question. But cities don't exist without people. To understand Bhogavati, we must understand those who lived there and why humans entered their world. A city alone proves nothing. Civilizations are remembered through relationships. That's where the Mahabharata reveals its most unexpected clue. The Mahabharata says Ulupi draws Arjuna beneath the Ganga and into the realm of the Nagas. But what follows isn't an attack. She speaks to him, reveals her royal lineage, and proposes union. Inside, the Mahabharata doesn't describe a monster's lair. It describes a functioning society with rulers, customs, and royal lineage. Then comes the detail almost every summary skips. Arjuna marries Ulupi. The epic presents it as a royal alliance, not an impossible event. Their son, Iravan, becomes part of the Mahabharata itself. The narrative accepts his lineage without questioning whether two worlds could unite. Then the story changes completely. Another Naga king enters history, Takshaka, and suddenly diplomacy gives way to vengeance. Takshaka kills King Parikshit, but the Mahabharata doesn't frame it as random evil. It becomes the beginning of a political catastrophe. Parikshit's son, Janamejaya, orders the Sarpasatra not to punish one serpent, but to erase an entire race. That sounds less like revenge and more like extermination. One person stops it, Astika. Born from both human and Naga lineage, he prevents vengeance from becoming genocide. The Mahabharata ends this conflict with reconciliation, not conquest. That's an extraordinary choice if the Nagas were meant to be mere monsters. Some historians see echoes of ancient clans. Others see sacred symbolism. The epic itself never explains. It simply preserves the memory. By now, the pattern is impossible to ignore. Across stories of marriage, war, and diplomacy, the Nagas behave less like beasts and more like another civilization. History forgets most civilizations. Cities disappear, languages vanish, empires collapse. So why did one memory survive for thousands of years? Century after century, the Nagas keep returning. Different authors, different beliefs, different worlds. Yet the memory never completely disappears. The stones remember too. Early sculptures prove serpent guardians weren't isolated stories. They became part of India's sacred visual language. History adds another layer. Real dynasties even carried the name Naga. Were they connected to the legends, or borrowing an older sacred identity? The memory escaped books. It entered temples, sacred springs, and living rituals. Across India, serpent traditions continued long after kingdoms disappeared. Water changes every moment, yet rivers keep their names. Perhaps civilizations preserve memory the same way, not perfectly, but continuously. The mystery is no longer that Naga stories existed. It's that the memory kept changing form. Text became stone. Stone became worship, and worship survived into the present. Perhaps we've been asking the wrong question. Not, did Naglok exist, but why was remembering it so important?
We didn't prove Naglok existed. We discovered something far more difficult to explain. Why an entire civilization refused to forget the Nagas. The Nagas were never the destination. They were the first clue. Welcome to the Hidden Archive.